What's up guys, JV2017 here, and today I wanted to discuss the role of the upcoming Wasteland Workshop DLC, which is coming next week, with the existence of mods. And I think this is a relevant conversation because Fallout 4 is a game that is inseparably intertwined with modding. In fact, it's such a big deal that Bethesda has been working with Sony and Microsoft to bring it to consoles, which is something you don't see every day, and hopefully we'll hear more about that soon. The reason I'm pointing all of this out is that some of my more vocal viewers who are playing the game on PC have brought this issue to my attention, and the idea is that a lot of the content offered in Wasteland Workshop for $5 is already available via modding on the PC, or that a lot of the DLC can be made through modding. It's definitely possible to do that, and modding, of course, is a free platform to get free content. You don't have to pay to mod with Fallout 4. Now, if these things are true, then some might say that the Wasteland Workshop DLC makes Bethesda look like they're cashing out on the hard work of modders who create these things for free and aren't charging anything for it. And I realize that this is largely an issue on the PC platform, but I think it also translates well to consoles since we'll be seeing mods on the Xbox One and PlayStation 4 fairly soon. So there's a lot to talk about in this video and in this topic. So let's break it down point by point. First off, it's important to note that the Wasteland Workshop DLC is $5 standalone. Of course, you get it within the Season Pass if you buy that or have already bought that, but $5 standalone, or your regional equivalent, is a small fraction of the fully priced game no matter where you buy it. And a big thing a lot of people like to point out with smaller, DLCs is that, oh, this DLC is only $5. Buy it if you don't, buy if you want it. Don't buy it if you don't want it. And it's just, really that simple. I don't think it's that simple. I'm not a big fan of this line of thinking because it can be applied to every single small purchase situation in existence. That doesn't take into account the many nuances that each situation has. And this one is unique. And so once I'm able to play the DLC and experience it, I'll be able to gauge its value based on that. But for now, it's up in the air. I will say that I look at this as more of a cosmetic DLC, since the majority of this content doesn't actually affect anything in the game as a whole, save for a few new features like having a new source of power, doing other certain things like getting rid of radiation. We know we have these other kind of new features, but they don't affect the game as a whole. So my point here is that this DLC needs to be treated for what it is. Yes, it's a small fraction of the cost for the full game, but it does provide content that has value, and that's up to each individual that buys it to determine if the value is worth $5. Moving on now, a popular idea that people are sharing on my more recent Wasteland Workshop related videos is that the content for this DLC is already available via PC modding. You can already go and download similar things. And personally, I have seen a lot of bundles and packs on the Fallout 4 Nexus mod site that do offer similar building options that you will see in this DLC. I will say this, from the perspective of someone who is relatively new to PC modding, I've only been doing it about 3 or 4 months and only with Fallout 4, just to give you some context, I think there is a place for paid DLC on the PC that can otherwise be achieved or offered through free mods for a few reasons here. So first, mods break. Each time the game goes through an update, which seems to be monthly with Fallout 4, people complain about their mods breaking and not functioning correctly. And I don't use a lot of mods on my PC for Fallout 4. I don't go all out. I like to kind of experience the main game and have some nice quality of life mods going on. Some of mine have been broken and I haven't taken the time to figure out how to fix them because, quite frankly, I don't want to have to worry about that at all. So that brings me to my second point, which is convenience. Having this content available and reliable for a fraction of the game's cost is something that I think is quite reasonable. If you think about it, this DLC is a small curated collection of really useful mods that Bethesda has seen out in the wild, people have created, along with their own original assets that they're offering as well. After all, it's easy to forget that the game wouldn't exist without Bethesda having developed it in the first place. So I think this is their right, and I guess that's true with all games that have a large modding community like Fallout 4. I think it's also easy to forget that not everyone wants to fuss with installing mods in the first place. Even though personally I found it really easy, I didn't have any troubles with it. I'm not like everyone, not everyone that works with PC mods is like everyone else. So even with the GEC on the way, which will provide even more modding options, there is a place for convenient custom options with modding, and that's how I see this DLC. I think there truly is a place for this for people that don't want to fuss with it, and also people that don't want to worry about their mods breaking. Those are two main things, main advantages I can see from having this kind of content made by Bethesda and provided by them. I've also seen the assumption that some of this DLC can be made through modding, but it just hasn't been made yet, kind of implying that, oh, this can be made. Bethesda doesn't have to give us, this, just that it's possible. It's definitely possible. And to me, this is like a children's argument, like a first grade argument. It's like saying, I have all the tools to be successful in life, all these opportunities, all this money. I just haven't done it yet. I haven't been successful yet, but I can do it. Lots of things are possible, and I'm sure modders out there are talented and could replicate most of what Wasteland Workshop has to offer. There are some incredible mods that have been made for Fallout 3, New Vegas, and already for Fallout 4, but until that happens, this is just a moot point in my opinion, unless we reach a point where the modding community creates a system that makes it even easier to install mods and DLC than even, Bethesda can provide in their own game. I believe there's always a place for paid content that can be made free by modders. So, with all of this in mind, is Wasteland Workshop an attempt by Bethesda to prey on people who aren't aware of the modding community? And there's an old saying that people say and use. It's that people in general don't know what they don't know. If people aren't aware of the option to have this content for free, does that make Bethesda the bad guy? And does that mean they're capitalizing on this fact? And for the reasons I've already explained, I think this is a convenience purchase for PC players, similar to buying cosmetics for PC games. None of the Wasteland Workshop content is really necessary, nor does it affect the experience as a whole. It's not game changing. It's not like they wrap the new survival mode overhaul into this DLC and they're offering a new way to experience their game as a whole. Also, we need to keep in mind how the rest of the games industry operates in this day and age. A lot of the long-term life cycle of games that are trying to go, for years, people playing the same game for years, depends on microtransactions. That's how they keep going instead of releasing these large DLC chunks. And the community has often fought back at microtransactions that create an unfair advantage in competitive games. That's a particular kind of example that I think is most prevalent. This is just not the same situation. There's no competitive play in here. Again, this doesn't affect the content as a whole. It's just not the same. It's more of a cosmetic DLC, an optional thing that you can do if you want to. I don't remember if it was Todd specifically, but somebody at Bethesda commented on, the fact that there are different sizes of DLC, and they said they wanted to go in this direction because it's worked in the past. They've tried this kind of thing with smaller content packs, a little bit larger, the largest, with Far Harbor, and it's worked in the past, and I think that is a motivation for them. They're still a business. Bethesda is really, expanding and publishing more games, so they're still a business. We have to keep that in mind. Finally, I'm sure a lot of you have been watching this video and you play on PS4 or Xbox One. You're thinking, why is this relevant to me? I'm on, my console. I don't mess with PC. I think this conversation is relevant to consoles because soon we will have the capability to bring mods to the consoles. And the problem is that we don't know in what capacity we will be able to do this. So far, Bethesda has said that mods will be created on the PC and then translated to consoles, but we don't know how much these mods will be curated or how difficult this process will be. So that's kind of still up in the air. Does a person need the game on PC in order to create mods for the console version of their game? If someone has it on PC, why would they want to make mods on the PC to be translated to consoles unless they want to get some kind of recognition and make their mod, the most used mod on consoles and whatnot? I know at one point they've said that certain mods will not be allowed, such as nude mods, obviously, or ones that discriminate, racist mods, things like that, but we just don't know yet. And because we don't know what the accessibility of mods on consoles will look like, I think Wasteland Workshop as a DLC for console players is really up in the air because, for example, what if you buy this DLC and then console mods come out and bam, all of this stuff is for free download? Maybe there's a chance that Bethesda will look at some of that stuff and say, hey, we already released this with Wasteland Workshop, let's, ban that. I don't know if they're going to do that. Again, they have said that they intend for, the modding on consoles, that experience to be free. They're not going to charge for mods, at least that's what they've said in the past. If they were to do something like that, I think it'd cause a lot of controversy. So I'm sure they have some kind of alternative solution to come up with, and we're just all waiting here to see what they do. So I've done a ton of talking, but I'd like to hear what you're thinking in the comments below. Do you think that Wasteland Workshop is worth it knowing that mods exist to replace certain things? And is there a place for paid DLC that can otherwise be made through modding and offered for free? Share all of your thoughts in the comments below. Alright guys, today we discussed the role of Wasteland Workshop and PC modding in Fallout 4, and next time we will cover more Fallout on my channel, so stay tuned for Fallout 4 tips and tricks videos. If you learned something new, remember to hit that like button, I would really appreciate it, and don't forget to subscribe for more survival mode coverage, Wasteland Workshop DLC, and general tips and tricks videos. Talk to you guys next time, peace.